Hey guys, it's Jo here from Upsadaisy, and today we're going to be creating a best of the year style spread. We're going to be using a brand new product to Upsadaisy, which is our journal project kit, and it contains everything you need to create the setup you're about to see. I'm really proud of the project kits and I really hope that you enjoy them, but even if you're not going to grab one, this is a great inspiration for setting up a really useful spread in your journal. The best of the year brackets is designed to record your favourites of every month and then pit them against each other so that you can crown the best of the year. The very first spread that we're going to need to create for this is our monthly roundup, which is where we're going to record our favourite for every month. For the purpose of this video, I am going to be using it to record my favourite film of the year. But remember, there is really no limit to what you can include in this spread. It could be books, it could be recipes, it could be podcasts, it could be TV shows. It's really down to your interests and what you want to create. So as I said, the first spread that we're going to create is our monthly roundup spread, and that's going to be somewhere we can capture our favourites from each month. There will be a space so that you can put a photo of it for every month, and it can be tailored to suit your hobbies. In conjunction with the kit, there is a digital resource which will allow you to download our Canva template to size your photos to perfectly fit the spread. If you don't have the kit and you're doing it by hand, then obviously you're going to need to just adjust those photo sizes so they fit inside the boxes. I'm using our monthly roundup super easy stencil just to add the 12 boxes to the page. So that's one for every month of the year. And then I'm going to create a fun little header using some scrapbook paper that is included within the kit, just to make it stand out from just a normal pen-based spread. So in order to create my header, I am just eyeballing and tearing the piece of craft paper so that it fits the space at the top and the bottom of the page. I'm then going to use a glue roller just to adhere that onto the page. And once I've got that, it's just about adding an extra piece of paper on top of that where I'm going to add my header. I'm using the grid paper that again come from within the kit, but you could use any piece of scrap paper that you've got. And once I've made sure that it's the right size to fit on that space above the 12 monthly spaces, I'm then going to use the text within the super easy stencil to create my header. This text is actually one of our most popular fonts. It's called Blossom, but it's been sized specifically so that it fits on top of that super easy stencil layout. So I'm going to go ahead and write in the monthly header using my Pigma Micron 04 pen. And once I've done that, I'm going to add the holes from the middle of the letters, which are across the bottom of the stencil. With those all added in, it's just about filling in that text so that it really stands out from the page. And again, I'm using my Pigma Micron to do that. Once my header's all coloured in, I'm going to adhere that onto the top of the page using more of that glue roller tape. And then I'm going to be adding my titles to those monthly boxes so that I know what photo I'm putting where. So the photos that I'll be adding will be my favourite movies of the year. So as the year goes on, this spread's going to fill up and it's going to be a great record of my favourite movies from the year 2024. But as I said before, you could totally use this for loads of different things. I'm thinking stationery, days out, so many different things you could use this for. I'm using my tweezers just to position these month of the year titles. And this really couldn't be a simpler spread to set up, but it is quite a nice one to have in the beginning of your journal, just to record all of your favourites for the year, and you can flip back and take a look at any time. So that's our monthly roundup spread. And with that complete, it's time to move on to the next spread, which is our best of the year brackets. There are two ways that you can set up this spread. Option 1 or option 2 as shown on the screen. I'm going to go for option 1 for the purpose of this video, but you do have reference to these from the digital area that you are linked to from your project kit cheat sheet if you do want to refer back and try the second option and you need a closer look at the spread layout. So when I'm beginning to set this up, I'm using the classic stencil Best of the Year, and I'm starting off with the 2 horizontal boxes that are next to a portrait shaped box. With that drawn, I can then move it to the 3 portrait shaped boxes that are placed in sort of a triangle, and that positions the next 3 boxes for you, and then repeat the same thing again, placing the hole over the one that you've drawn before so that you can position each of the boxes where they should be. Hopefully that makes sense and you're watching what I'm doing. Once you've got all of the boxes in place, it's really about connecting them so that you can see that you're taking January and February's favourite to crown a next level finalist, and then you're taking March and April, and then you're taking May and June, and then your winner from the first round goes off against your winner from the second round, your winner from the second round plays off against your winner from the third round, and you're gradually kind of weaning out and making sure that your favourite is really going through to the next round in the Best of the Year tournament. So again, just for instructional purposes, all of the boxes within the classic stencil are positioned so that you can space out your spread perfectly. So I've got the 2 horizontal boxes next to a portrait box. I'm then lining up those 3 portrait boxes so they're spaced perfectly, lining the holes over the previous boxes, and then just filling in the final horizontal boxes by positioning the portrait box over the box that I've drawn and adding in those horizontal boxes. So that is my Best of the Year brackets layout. I'm then adding in the lines that connect each round to the next. So again, you've got 2 months playing off against each other to get your quarter finalist, and then the quarter finalists playing off against each other to get our semi-finalists, and then really narrowing it down until you've got your finalists for the first 6 months of the year playing off against your finalist for the second 6 months of the year. And whichever is your favourite out of those 2 will go through and be your Best of the Year. Now the next thing I'm going to do is add in another header, and I'm doing it exactly the same as I did with the header on the first spread, the monthly Roundup spread. But this time I'm using our font stencil, which is Blossom. And the reason we've left this and not included it on the classic stencil is because we know the heading here will depend on what you're using the spread to record. So for me, it's the movie of the year, which is what I'm writing, but perhaps you might write book of the year or fiction of the year or podcast of the year, really down to you what you want the heading there to be. So I'm writing out the header using my Blossom stencil, and then I'm going to add in the holes to the middle of the letters. And again, I'm going to go through and colour that text all in black using my Pigma Micron Fineliner. And then I'm going to be laying that up with a bit of craft paper to give the same effect of the previous spread. Now, if you know exactly where you want this to be positioned, it may be a good idea to tear the paper to the right size before you get started, which is what I didn't do. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a little bit of trial and error to make it fit the space. And I find whenever I'm doing anything with a torn edge, you do have to do a little bit of trial and error because it's very difficult to be really accurate with this style of tearing. I do toy with positioning it at the bottom of the page, but I think I decide that I much rather the header be where it should be, which is for me at the top of the page. So again, once I've got all of this in position, I do a little bit more tearing and it fits perfectly into the space at the top of the spread. Now, I talked earlier about adding photos to this. So the portrait boxes really are designed to have pictures in. You could draw doodles or you could write headers in them. But for me, it's a really nice visual spread, and a way of recording things like books and films for me is using the cover photo for the book or the film. So we've included a Canva template, and with that it's really easy to size the images that you have to exactly the right size to fit the spread. And if you have our project kit, you will have a link to download that Canva template, We've also made a tutorial of how to use it. If you are not familiar with Canva, it is free to get the free user access, so you can create a quick login and you can upload your photos, and it's just a really nice way of making sure that your photos are sized perfectly rather than trial and error, which is what I've done previously. So now I've coloured in all of that header, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere it all to the page using the double-sided glue roller. And with that done, it's really about adding a little bit more decoration. So I'm going to add a space for the winner of my movie of the year to go. And again, I'm going to use grid paper and the craft paper to make that space, just to make the winner really stand out separately to the other finalists within the year. So I've drawn on the winner's space using the classic stencil as my guideline for what shape it should be, and that again, that aligns with one of the boxes on our Canva template. And then I'm going to tear the craft paper just to make a little space, and again there's a lot of trial and error, sort of faffing around and eyeballing how I want it to look. I think until you've got that bit of paper in front of you, it's quite difficult to know exactly what size you want that to be. And once I've torn that, I'm going to add that to the page using my glue roller. And then I'm going to use more of the stickers that you saw within the monthly roundup to add the titles to all of the boxes, so I know which box refers to which month of the year, who are our finalists, who's our winner. And we can add a little bit more decoration as well. Within those stickers, they've got some medals, so you can crown your first place, second place, third place. You can also add in finalist titles and semi-finalist titles. I'm just going to go through and add the months of the year. So with this layout, you would write in text the 12 finalists, and that's because we've already got a picture of the 12 finalists on our monthly roundup spread. And then if they make it through to the quarterfinals or the semi-finals, then they would have their icon as an image, depending on what level they go through. So the 2 finalist spaces get a little title underneath them, and the winner space gets a title underneath too. And then I'm going to add in a little cup, because it is a tournament after all. So the cup has a main body to it, and then I add in my 2 handles and a little plaque at the front just to make it look more realistic. And then I'm just hand drawing in the divisions between the cup and the base. And that's my movie of the year spread. I hope you found this video tutorial useful. If you have any questions, please pop them in the description below, and don't forget to subscribe.